President Biden does remain in isolation with COVID-19.
Yeah, the president is still testing positive for the virus, but he feels well. According to his physician, Kevin O'Connor, he is struggling with remote work, as we just showed you. And today he'll be back on Zoom. This time it's for a virtual roundtable discussing the Democrats' $700 billion tax, energy, and spending bill. They like to call it the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah, that's what they like to call it. You know, the White House is defending the measure, but critics say it will only make our inflation crisis worse. And right now, Senate Democrats are trying to convince their final holdout, Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona, to support the bill. But so far, their efforts have been in vain. Joining us now to discuss this is the host of the Trish Regan Show and editor of TrishIntel.com. Trish, great to have you in with us today.
Hey, great to be with you guys as always.
All right, so Trish, the Nonpartisan Tax Foundation views the Democrats' so-called Inflation Reduction Act like this. They say by reducing long-run economic growth, this bill may actually worsen inflation by constraining the productive capacity of the economy. Yeah, Democrats hate this. You know, they find fault with every piece of analysis that actually shows that this is going to go in the wrong direction when it comes to inflation. But make sense of this for us. What's going to happen if this bill actually passes?
More the same. In other words, we're never going to get inflation under control. Keep in mind that at a time when prices keep going up, this government just wants to spend more money, which is a form of printing more money, and flood the economy with more. I mean, how the heck are we ever going to get this under control if they just keep pumping more money into the system? Not to mention here that they're talking about picking the winners and losers, right, when it comes to whole climate initiative arena. They want to decide who can succeed, who can't succeed. So that's a problem in and of itself. I fundamentally have an issue with somehow the solution to a challenging economic environment as a result of inflation is to give out more money.
Yeah, and you know, so many Americans have a distrust for what they're being told when they started saying this isn't a recession, we're going to change the definition. Trish, then we see White House Press Secretary KJP, she's out touting a fact that she says a wide range of economic experts have come out to support the spending bill. Let's listen to what she's trying to say from the podium.
These high-level officials from both parties reaffirmed that this package will cut many of families' biggest costs and act against inflation. They also became the latest in a long list of experts, as I've shared with you recently, who have debunked congressional Republicans' lies meant to protect tax welfare for wealthy special interests at any cost, even prolong inflation.
So these high-level officials are out there. It sounds like, you know, swamp speak to most Americans who are saying, I'm looking at my checkbook. I know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, this stuff is not that complicated. They're going to try and make it sound complicated so they can talk up here and you can just assume they have all the answers. Believe me, she definitely does not. In fact, I sometimes doubt whether or not she understands entirely what she's talking about when it comes to the economy, as so many of these political types do. If they can create an us versus them environment, then that might play in Peoria, as they say, right? They're trying to make it succeed politically, but it's not that hard. The answer is this: you do not try and up taxes at a time when you're in a very fragile economic environment, unless, of course, you're trying to put the brakes on inflation, in which case, then why would you be giving out all that money? They're giving out money, in my view, to the companies they think should succeed, therefore their friends, while simultaneously making it much harder on your everyday Americans, the middle class, which is the key to our entire economic success. And thus, you know, you raise taxes, you're going to have a pullback in sort of that overall economic well-being. It's just not that hard, but they're going to try and make it hard. Believe me, they really will.
Well, this is what we'd have to expect, right, Trish, from a bunch of people who have worked in government their entire lives and never run a business before. And also, speaking of Karine Jean-Pierre, have you guys seen her notebook? Have you seen her notebook?
It's not as the binder that we saw from Kayleigh McEnany, which was just like loaded with facts.
It is a binder, but it looks more like George Costanza's wallet. She has so much stuff dumped into it. But anyway, you know, everyone.
Take a look at that.
Everyone is just looking at the White House and wondering how they can try to justify this. I want to play a clip from CNBC here. They are also laughing at the White House. Here it is.
You know how Washington works. But do you see the sort of irony in tacking on another $700 billion with tax increases and spending involved? Does that in any way look like an inflation reduction bill to you?
That's the question, right? How can you repeat the same steps that led us to inflation and then look us in the eye with a straight face and telling us this is going to solve the problem that we created by doing the same thing that we did to create the problem in the first place?
I love Kernan, actually. I used to work at CNBC and know him well, and he gets it. Look, this is so preposterous, and it's like they're just insulting us, right, on top of it all, because they think we Americans are so stupid that we'll believe that they're actually reducing inflation with this act. So it's like adding insult to injury. Look, I'm going to tell you guys something. Prior to March 2020, we actually had the highest tax receipts, meaning the U.S. government brought in the most money from tax revenue than it ever had in history. And that was a result of smart, sound economic policy, low taxes, less regulation, and what do you know? We actually had more money to work with than we ever had in the history of this country. That's how you succeed. You grow the economy for everyone, and therefore our government will have more money. You don't say we're going to penalize everybody and we're going to add $80 billion to the IRS so they can go out there going after the middle class, because ultimately that's who will pay the price when they conduct all those audits on small businesses and individuals. I mean, this is all wrong. And you know what? Good for Joe Kernan. He totally gets it. We need more people in the media just saying, okay, politics aside, let's speak the truth, because you know what? Americans, they deserve to know the truth. They are trying to protect their families. They're trying to prepare for maybe retirement one day, save for their kids' education. They ought to know what's what. And you're going to sit there with a smile on your face and actually try and make them believe that this is going to reduce inflation? Come on.
And, you know, to your point, though, Trish, too, they're bracing in West Virginia. You know, Joe Manchin at the center of this, and they could lose hundreds of thousands of jobs. A statement out by the West Virginia Coal Association, several other industry groups are saying this legislation is so egregious, it leaves those of us that call Senator Manchin a friend shocked and disheartened. That is the sentiment there, and they are coming out to blast him.
I don't know what happened with Manchin. I mean, he seemed like he was on a real steady path and then took this wild curve. Look, you know, there are some things that are in this that I don't have a problem with. One of the things that they actually are trying to do is get rid of what I call the fat cat tax loophole. That's the private equity interest tax loophole, where they treat income as investment, and thus a lot of billionaires get away with paying less in taxes than percentage-wise than, say, a fireman in New York City. I don't have a problem with that. There are things that need to be reformed, but the bulk of this overall is really not going to be helpful. And, you know, Manchin, who was sticking up for the coal industry, listen, I mean, I don't know where he's gone. Somebody clearly got to him, but this is not a good recipe for success for America. There are parts of it that I think could work, but overall, you're talking about spending so much more money at a time when we're trying to keep prices down, not drive them higher, and this is going to have the opposite effect.
Yeah, you know, it's almost like if you pulled off the Joe Manchin mask, it might be Hillary Clinton behind there, just like when she told those West Virginia coal miners, we're going to put you out of business and you're going to like it. That's effectively what Joe Manchin's now doing by signing on to this bill. But Trish, always great to see you. We really appreciate your insights on all this stuff. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Trish.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. With inflation at its highest level in 40 years and interest rates skyrocketing, your retirement plans are in danger. Well, our friends at American Hartford Gold can help show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Yeah. If you call them right now, they have a special offer. They will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order. So don't wait. Call now. Here's the number. 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309, or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532. Thank you.